Hi, it's James here from a little coffee roastery in Macclesfield, Cheshire. Just doing this short video just to explain our packaging choices for the little coffee roastery. When we were setting up, we were looking at different packaging options for our coffee beans and grounds. We were wondering why it was necessary to have the foil plastic composite bags with a little coffee valve. They're really clever pieces of packaging. They allow a long shelf life on coffee beans and grounds, and the little valve allows a degassing of CO2 that's generated in the beans during roasting, and that allows the gases to come out after roasting while they're sat on shelves and in supermarkets and in warehouses. And we were thinking, well, do we need to have that? Is it really necessary? It was around the same time there was a whole thing kicking off around use of plastics. David Attenborough's documentaries are really kind of highlighting it and bringing it to people's attentions. And at the time, I remembered when I was a kid, I used to go and stay with a relative down in London, and we do a bit of sightseeing down there, and she lived on the edge of London at the edge of the tube line, and she was lucky enough to live just around the corner from a coffee roaster on her high street that still did coffee roasting back then. So one of my jobs while I was there was to go and pick up groceries from town, including her coffee. And you'd go into the shop and they'd have a choice of a few different beans and grounds, and you'd pick them out and they'd weigh them, and they'd also grind them in the shop, and they'd give you the grinds in a paper bag. And then you'd go back to the house and then pop it in the coffee jar or the coffee tin. So with that kind of short supply chain, you don't need any composite unrecyclable bags, because it's going straight from where they roast it to the coffee jar at home, and it's not sat on a shelf for weeks and months potentially. So we were thinking, well, if we have a nice short supply chain, we only roast when people actually order it, then maybe we don't need that composite bag. So we were looking at different options, and we found a bag made by NatureFlex, which is a film made from cellulose. It's transparent, it's pretty airtight, you can heat seal it, so it's great for storing beans and grounds. And we can pop it in the post and you'll get it within a few days of roasting, so it's really fresh. And when you get it home, we recommend just pop it in a tin or jar to keep it as fresh as possible. So that's why we decided to go with NatureFlex bags. They work really well, they don't contribute to landfill at all. The composite bags, because they are a foil, plastic, sometimes paper as well, composite bonded together, they can't separate out those constituent parts at recycling plants. So unfortunately, they just go straight to landfill. Currently, there's no way to recycle those. Our bags are completely compostable and biodegradable and marine degradable as well. So you can pop it in your compost or just put it in your waste, and it won't clog up the waste supply chain. Okay, thanks for now.